Okay, now we're going to take a look at what happens when you put your card in. Now here we have a blank screen, and I'm putting the card in the back of the slot, and we're going to see it appear in just a second on your desktop, and there it is. Now, this is really not usable video as it is on the card, so we're going to have to do something with it, but if you put the card in and you've got iMovie open, it is possible to take the clips off and just go ahead and import them in there. But at some point, I would strongly recommend that you back this up. First of all, let's take a look and see what's in here. I'm just going to double click this, and I'm going to bring the window down so you can see. It's just private, and we've got their AVC HD formatted movies in here, and I'm going to click that. And now I'm going to fly it up using my space bar. And now I'm going to open with QuickTime Player. And what we're going to get, I'm going to bring this window down so you can see it. Here are 3 clips that are on this card. So I can just click on here, and I can hold the command click and do one by one. And I'm going to undo them here by command click, or I could do the shift click and get all 3, and I can open them, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to just deselect these by doing the command click. Let's just take a look at this one. I'm going to say OK, and what it's going to do is it brought this big giant window up. I'm going to reduce this down so we can see it, and I'm going to bring it back down in here real quick. So here we go. This is not the actual size, but it's close enough. So I can play it here, and there we go. This is one of the parts that I used for making this tutorial. And I'm going to just stop here. Okay, and that's wonderful. So you could actually view this if you wanted to. But let's take this a little bit further, because it's actually open this up in QuickTime Player. It's possible to export this out as a movie if you wanted to, and that could be very, very useful when you don't have access to iMovie, or you just don't want to put it in iMovie and then export it out and all this. You could just literally export it out as a movie. Okay, so here we are in QuickTime Player, and let's just put our little movie up here so we can kind of see it as we're going. And this is one we have opened already. So watch this. This is very, very handy and useful to some of the things that you're going to be required to do in this course. And one of them is going to be to show your show a movie that you made out in the field. So if you don't want to put it in iMovie to export and all that, this is a down and dirty way to do it. So here we go. So I've got QuickTime Player open, which is on all Macs. Now, look at this, export, and here are our different resolutions. Now each one of these, of course, kind of increment up to higher resolution, which translates to higher file size. Don't worry about this. And by the way, look, you can export audio only if you want. That's very useful. Here we go. So I would recommend, just for screening purposes, just do the 480p, and we're going to export that out. And let's put this back in here. You need to label it, so I'm going to just put keyboard. And of course put where you want it, and I'm going to just put it right here on my desktop, which is over here. We'll just do it this way. There we go. Then we'll just call it keyboard, and I can navigate to wherever I wanted to. So I'm going to save that. And this isn't going to take very long. Here we are. It's saving. Boom, it's done. So here is our keyboard movie, and this is the movie we just made. But if you use the space bar in the Mac, you can fly up these things and play them. So here it is playing down here, and you've made a movie. So I'm going to just fly that back, and let's see how big it is by doing Command I, and that movie is 18 megabytes. It's only a 43-second movie. So anyway, that is a great way that you can just make a movie out of a clip really, really quick. So here we go. We're back to our camera card icon, which is your SDHC card. So let's look at something else. Now, if you import, you can import directly, and we'll look at that later. You can import the clips that are on this card directly into your editor, and we're gonna see how to do that. That's pretty cool. But remember, I said you want to back these up because just in case, if you need them. Well, how do you do that? Well, even though the contents of this looks like a folder, it's really like a little application. You have to be very careful that you don't just take the parts out, because guess what? If you go back and you just use some of the parts without the rest of the application to support it, it's not going to work. So very bad news. Okay, so what is the proper way to save this? In other words, to archive this on a hard drive. Here, I've got 2 hard drives right here, which we're going to do. Very simple. So I've highlighted it, and now I'm going to do the control click, which on the Mac is like right clicking, and I get this sub menu, and look, copy. So we're going to copy this. Now it's copied. Now I'm going to open up my hard drive. Let's open up the Burley. So here's my hard drive. I'm going to put this on my hard drive right down here. Let's move this up just so we can get everything kind of squeezed in here. So I'm going to click down here, which is, I want it to go on my Burley 9, which is an external hard drive. I'm going to do the control, which is the right click again, and now I'm going to paste. There we go. So it's pasting, and it's just very quick here because it's just there's only 3 clips. It couldn't be more in a minute. And now, look, you have the same thing. Completely safe. Guaranteed, well, as much as you can guarantee anything to do with computer files to work. So I'm going to go ahead and label this. I happen to know that it was a keyboard video, and this is for the tutorial. I'm just going to return that to accept the change, and now we have it. And this is now this safely archive, and this would be on your external drive. Now, properly, you should back up your media twice. If you import this into iMovie, and that's great, and you use all the clips, then you've got them in your iMovie library. We'll talk about the iMovie library and the importance of that later. But you know, it's possible to just choose the clips. If you have like 10 clips instead of just 3, you could choose like, oh, I don't want, all of them. I just want like clips 4 and 6. So that's really all that's going to be in your iMovie library. So that's why it's really, really important to save the contents of your cards on your external drive. And it is just that easy as we saw before. So let's go ahead and eject this, and the proper way is to, well, eject it before you pull the card out. And that's just safety. It's not as imperative as it used to be in the past to eject this, but it's really just good form and good etiquette to do that, and more professional. So you can drag it to the trash, the tried and true way, or you can do a right click again, and we're going to choose eject. And there we go. It's gone. Now we can safely pull the card out. And that is the proper way to archive. That is to save. That is to say to back up the contents of your card properly on an external drive.